Topic 7, Lesson 2, Multiplying a Decimal by a Whole Number. Today you will use a standard algorithm to multiply a whole number and a decimal. So let's take a look at what that means. Go ahead and turn to page 172 in your book. In the previous lesson, you learned that all you had to do was move the decimal point or shift the numbers, but that was only with multiples of 10. Now we're going to be multiplying by whole numbers other than multiples of 10. So one way to look at it is to see it as 98 for number 1 times 2. That's kind of the beauty of this. If you know how to multiply whole numbers, it's going to help you in multiplying with decimals. So I'm pretending it's 98 times 2. However, we know it's not. It's 9 8/10. Okay, so, but I know in the end, my product will need to have a decimal, and there should only be one decimal place to the right because that is what is in my factor. So before I even multiply, notice that 9 8/10, that's very close to 10. Okay, that's only 2/10 away, so I know 10 times 2 is 20. My answer should probably be close to 20. All right, so let's go ahead and multiply this out. 8 times 2 is 16. 9 times 2 is 18, 19. So I know my answer is not 196 because I know that wouldn't make sense. 196 is not close to 20 at all. But as you can see, there's one decimal place in the factor, so there has to be one decimal place to the right, or one place value to the right of the decimal. So I put that here because I wanted to show that that's one place to the right. There's one decimal place in the product, just like there's one in the factor. And 19 6/10 is very close to 20. It's only 4/10 away from 20. Okay, let's look at number 3. I'm going to skip down to number 3. And it's 457 thousandths times 3. So go ahead and write that. Also take note that when we are multiplying with decimals, you do not need to line up the decimal points like you do in addition and subtraction. So that's why when these are all horizontal and you put them vertically to show your work, notice that I did not line up the decimals because you don't have to. So I know 457 thousandths, that's less than 1, times 3. So it's going to be, I'm pretending it's 457 times 3. But notice that there are 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the factor. So there should be 3 decimal places in the product. So go ahead and multiply that out, see what you get. Okay, so hopefully you pause to do that. And notice I got the answer of 1,371. I made sure to line up my place values. My 1 here is lined up with this 0, okay? But there are 3 decimal places in the factor. So remember, I go from the right, I go 1, 2, 3. So my answer is actually 1 371 thousandths. The main things to keep in mind with today's lesson is that you don't need to line up the decimals when multiplying. And also the number of decimal places in the factor needs to be the same number in the product, same number of decimal places in the product. So keep those in mind, and that will help you with today's lesson. Okay, but you're just multiplying like you would multiply whole numbers, but then keeping in mind where the decimal place should be. All right, guys, do your best and good luck, and double check your work with yourself and definitely with somebody else.